Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, did the Browns make a mistake taking Baker Mayfield #1 overall? Plus, Skip explains why he's disappointed with the Cowboys' first-round pick. And can Lamar Jackson deliver on some bold proclamations in Baltimore? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. And we're joined now live in Dallas by Joel Klatt. Joel, welcome.
It's good to be here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Joel.
Let's start at the very top of the draft. It seemed very unlikely a couple days ago, but the Browns took Baker Mayfield with the #1 pick. Afterwards, Baker said, quote, "I want to be the guy who comes in and helps change the culture of the locker room." So, Joel, did you like the pick?
I did like the pick, and little did we know that it was John Dorsey and Skip Bayless making the pick at #1. You've been making the case this entire process that Baker should be and would be the #1 quarterback. He was last night. I've been a big believer in Baker Mayfield, having covered him in the last couple of seasons. I will tell you that this guy performs best when the pressure is the most and the lights are the brightest. Look at what he did in some of the biggest environments in college football. At Ohio State against a very good defense. He was brilliant in that game. Urban Meyer saying it was one of the best performances he's ever had played against him from an opposing quarterback. He was great on the road against ranked opponents at Oklahoma. He was 7-0 in those games. And then when you matched him up against these other quarterbacks in this draft, and you looked at what they did in the second half of games that were one-possession games, which is what the NFL is, Shannon. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. He was brilliant. A rating of over 200. He threw 11 touchdowns in that situation. No other quarterback in this draft had thrown more than 4. So when you put that performance behind the bravado, behind the fact that Cleveland is desperate to win football games, I think that's what ultimately made the selection of Baker Mayfield. And I think it was a good selection. Listen, there's going to be critics. There's going to be comparisons to quarterbacks that have played there in the past, and I think unfavorable comparisons. But this kid wins football games. He's done it at every level, and I really liked the selection up there.
For this to be uniformity, because you got Baker Mayfield, who's a 6-foot-tall quarterback with some maturity issues and some off-field red flags. So how did they come to this conclusion of doing away with all this history, 6-foot-tall quarterback and his off-the-field issues, to say, you know what, we don't care, we're taking this guy #1?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it takes some guts, right? In particular because of what you talked about. Listen, you said in the last 15 years there had only been one quarterback selected in the first round under 6'1", and that quarterback was Johnny Manziel. So this franchise now is the only one to do it in the last 15 years. I think that we're starting to see a bigger sample size, however, Shannon, of guys that can succeed at that height and stature. We saw Case Keenum have an excellent season for Minnesota. We've seen Drew Brees win the Super Bowl. We've seen Russell Wilson win the Super Bowl. And so now, with where the game is moving, I think people are more comfortable than they used to be with guys that are 6'1". But I will tell you, I talked with several teams down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and before Baker's official weigh-in and height measurement, there were some nervous teams because they knew that they were not going to be able to sell, whether it was to their GM or to their owner, that like, hey, we should take a quarterback that high who's under 6 foot. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many guys that were right before his weigh-in and measurement, they were like, please be 6 foot, please be 6 foot. And, of course, he was. He's just as tall as Drew Brees, taller than Russell Wilson. But it's more than that because, remember, he doesn't get balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. He's been very durable, and the guy wins with touch and anticipation over the middle of the field, and that's really what it takes to win.
Yeah, Joel, you also loved Sam Darnold. So are you still okay that Cleveland took the quarterback that you had rated slightly lower than Sam Darnold with the first pick?
It was slightly. You know, I think that it was razor thin for me with those two guys at the top, and I think it was more preference. I was more comfortable with Darnold because I thought he was a safer selection. Skip, quite frankly, it's going to be a little bit rough in the fan sentiment type of mentality with Baker Mayfield in Cleveland because of the comparisons to Johnny Manziel. Even if I don't think that they apply at all, that's going to be brought up. So that's one of the reasons I thought Sam was a better fit for Cleveland. But with him now in New York, I just want to turn my focus there if I could.
Yep.
That's a great fit for Sam Darnold. Skip, this guy gets to learn from Josh McCown, who's one of the best men in the National Football League. I was with him in Detroit, and he's a great mentor. It's a good fit for Sam Darnold, and I think having slid to number 3, that fan base is probably more excited than they would have been with, let's say, a Josh Rosen at 3. They didn't think they were going to get this kid. He's probably the safest quarterback, excellent player who made USC better every time he was on the football field. And if I was a Jets fan, I would be overjoyed this morning.
I'm not sure I would, Joel, and I'll tell you why. I'm starting to wonder if Sam Darnold is too great of a young man, as in he tries too hard and he doesn't have that gear to be able to channel his competitive fire into performance instead of turnovers, because he clearly was pressing last year, trying to live up to Heisman hype, trying to lift a team that was just barely above average into national contention. And you know what happened? Interceptions go from 9 to 13. Sacks go all the way up to 26 sacks last year, and obviously led the nation in lost fumbles. That's just pressing. That's trying too hard. And I fear going to New York in that media market, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him. He's still a very high pick. I don't know if he can cope with that. If he could, like Baker Mayfield just embraces it. He's going to give LeBron a run on social media for his money. That's how Baker is. He's going to be on social media every day like LeBron. He'll out LeBron.
No.
Yes, he will. Yep.
One town. No. That belongs to LeBron.
No,
we're going to welcome Baker with open arms.
He's going to challenge.
But that's our city.
But LeBron will be gone after a couple months.
Stop. We're not talking about
So, Joel, your response about Darnold's makeup.
Yeah, so I would say that we've got 3 quarterbacks that, I would say 2 are on the precipice of a lot of success and another that has been, at the top level of the game, although hasn't won a Super Bowl, that all threw more interceptions than Sam Darnold in their last year of college football. Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson, who you loved, and Matt Ryan. They all threw more interceptions than Darnold did in their last year at their respective teams. So I think turnovers to a point for a quarterback that is that highly regarded and is the catalyst for the offense in college, they've got to make things happen. You got to understand now, USC gets a pass and everyone's like, oh, they're always the most talented team. They weren't last year. Their roster was really poor. Their offensive line was terrible, and they had injuries. Their schematics were very predictable at times because of some of that inexperience that was surrounding Sam Darnold. The only other player that was really worth his salt was Ronald Jones, who's probably going to get selected tonight in the NFL draft, rounds 2 through 3. But Sam was pressing not just because he wanted to prove people right or prove his evaluation correct, but more than that, Skip, he was pressing because he had to. When you're forced into that mode, I think that turnovers start to occur, in particular when your game plan has become a bit predictable, and that's clearly the case when I speak with all the defensive coordinators, when I evaluated USC. By the end of the year, they were incredibly predictable. That's why Ohio State got after them with their defense led by Greg Schiano and those great pass rushers. That's why Sam struggled in that game. But I will say this about Sam Darnold. Guy is tough. He never complains. Whether it was at Washington State on a weeknight when he was getting beat up and they eventually lost the game, he was always keeping them in the game. And people forget, he threw for 400 yards against Ohio State. He was doing his part. Listen, I know that those can be construed as excuses, but that's how I would answer your question. He was forced into that mode most of the season.
10 years from now, who's the better quarterback, Darnold or Mayfield?
Oh, my gosh. I'm really hoping both of them are impactful, right? But if I had to bet money, I can't bet against Baker. I covered him too much. Right? Like I just can't, because he took risks with the football yet didn't turn the football over.
Yeah.
He always won the game. He was great in one possession games. His ebbs and flows. Shannon, it's interesting. You've seen guys that like I want my quarterback to be even keeled, and I don't want him to ride the wave. Well, riding the wave is only bad when the lows depress you. See, when the lows motivate you, that's actually a good thing, that you're kind of an up and down guy. And Baker's a guy that when something bad happens, that just increases the size of the chip on his shoulder. And it motivates him to come back in a competitive sense and prove people wrong. So if you were forcing me to choose, I would choose Baker because I can't bet against him. I've covered him too much, man. The guy's brilliant. Magic Man, as Gus would say. I got to say, Gus Johnson would say, the Magic Man, Baker Mayfield.
So I completely agree with you. Just on pure college performance, it wasn't even close to me. Baker was much better than the other 4 quarterbacks in question here. But to Shannon's consistent point on this show, not only was he about 6 feet and a half inch tall, but he had way too many red flags. And yet I believe that Cleveland said some of the red flags are just competitive fire. The crotch grab, the drilling the TCU player with the warm-up pass, planting the flag in the middle of the Ohio State's Horseshoe Stadium. That's all just competitive fire. Now, nobody can defend the public intoxication, running from the police. Yet, even though I know Baker loves him some nightlife, he's not Manziel-like there. Johnny loved Vegas more than he loved Cleveland. Johnny did not study, didn't care about the X's and O's, and Baker is a film nerd. He will bury his head in the playbook. When it's time to play football, he studies football. So I told Shannon earlier, I'm 51-49 that Baker will stay out of trouble in ways Johnny could not stay out of trouble.
That's not a high percentage.
I know, but
that's exactly what I said.
That's what I'm taking him number 1 overall because I'm 51-49.
Woo. I guess. You know what I hope he does? Shannon, wouldn't you love this as a teammate if he took a Browns flag, ran out on his first game, and planted it at the 50, like he did with that OU flag at Ohio State?
Yeah, but he better win some games. All that crotch grabbing and it all comes to the NFL is about winning. They don't care what you do as long as you win.
True.
I mean, he reminds you a little bit of Phillip Rivers because you know Phillip Rivers is getting the defender's face. I mean, he's not going to do all that other things, but he's a trash talker and to get in the guy's face.
And Johnny is, Baker is the biggest trash talker. He's constant. He's going to motor mouth. He's going to be the next Shannon Sharp in the National Football League. But the problem is he is a franchise quarterback and the number 1 overall pick, right?
Yeah, defensive lineman couldn't get to me. They can get to him.
Okay, but what did Charlie Weiss tell us on this show? Baker Mayfield has things I can't teach or coach, which is why Charlie said a long time ago, I'm taking him number 1 overall because you can't teach leadership, competitive fire. You can't teach the rub-off factor, the swagger, the body language, just the spit in your eye guy that is Baker Mayfield. You just can't, you can't create that. It's in him. And that's why John Dorsey said, I want this kid to take over my franchise. And I don't think he's going to sit still very long behind Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I don't think that he will either. And a guy that I don't think is going to sit very long either. And I know we haven't mentioned him, and I don't mean to take a tangent here, but I think Arizona got a steal with Rosen sliding down. And I tell you, I interviewed him on the radio last night. We were doing the radio broadcast, myself, Kurt Menefee, Jay Glazer, and Chris Spielman. And that guy sat down, and of all the other draft picks, it was like, oh, sense of relief, isn't this exciting? He sat down, and there was determination and fire in Josh Rosen's eyes. Watch out for Rosen. I think that could be a really good selection when we're looking at this 5 years from now.
So, Joel, are you sure he doesn't talk a better game than he plays?
Well, we're going to find out because I tell you that answer, Chris Spielman asked him, like, hey, what'd you think? You know, how'd it feel? And he looked dead in his eyes, and without pause, he gave that answer that you have seen now, you know, across social media and print. I thought 9 other teams made a mistake. And I was like, whoa, all right, okay, here we go. And it's to your point, though, Shannon, if you produce, guys are going to love that. If you win games, they're going to love that type of mentality. It's the old Nuke LaLoosh Crash Davis line. If you win 20 games, you can have mold on your shower shoes. You can do whatever you think. People think it's colorful. But until you produce, they're just going to say that it's talk.
Yep.
Here we go is right. Be sure to check out Joel on the NFL Draft coverage tonight at 7 Eastern on Fox. Joel, thanks for joining us. No mercy. Hey guys, Joy Taylor here. More Undisputed is on the way, but first, a quick word about Buffalo Wild Wings. There's a new boss in town at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he deals in bacon. It's the Bacon Boss Burger, featuring bacon 3 different ways in a blanket of white cheese sauce. And he's joined by other new favorites, like the smothered cheesesteak quesadilla, sweet chili shrimp, and Alaska Cod Classic. All pair perfectly with a Sam 76, a fruity ale with the crisp finish of a lager. Hurry in today and try them all before they're gone at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Available for a limited time while supplies last. Please drink responsibly. No mercy. The Cowboys picked former Boise State linebacker Leighton Vander Esch with the 19th overall pick. Earlier this week, NFL Network's Jane Slater tweeted that the Cowboys felt Vander Esch was Brian Urlacher 2.0. There was speculation the Cowboys would pick a wide receiver, and they had their choice of any receiver in the draft, but they went with defense. Skip, do you like the pick?
Skip, do you like the pick? Answer the question.
How about those Cowboys? I did not love this pick. The more I think about it, the more this pick comes across to me as a shocking reach that I did not see coming from my Dallas Cowboys. I hope I'm very, very wrong. I hope he's Brian Urlacher 2.0, whatever, baloney, but I love Brian Urlacher. You can look back. I was at the Chicago Tribune. I was just campaigning for them to take Urlacher, and it was between Urlacher and Plaxico. Came down to those two, and then Plaxico went, I think.
Which are Steelers.
Yeah. So, I tweeted during the afternoon yesterday that DJ Moore will be the best receiver in this draft, and that I would be extremely happy if at number 19 my Cowboys took DJ Moore to replace the number 1 receiver, and I put quotes around number 1 receiver, they just lost, Dez Bryant, because Dak Prescott needs a new number 1 receiver. And guess what, boys and girls? Guess what happened?
What happened?
5 picks later, DJ Moore went to Cam Newton. Congratulations, Cam Newton. That was a godsend pick for Cam because he's got a true number 1. Every time I turned on a Maryland game this year, he exploded, DJ Moore did, off my screen. He is electric. He's way beyond Calvin Ridley to me. I'm not the biggest Calvin Ridley.
Well, I think, but Skip, look what Calvin really had thrown to him his last 2 years. His freshman year was his best year.
Maybe he got sort of lost, like Michael Jordan got lost in the Dean Smith offense. Maybe, but I don't know. This kid is more electrifying than Calvin. He just moves better. He runs stronger. He's going to change Cam Newton's life just the way he would have changed Dak Prescott's life. So I watched, and I can't even say his name. It doesn't even sound like a football player's name. Leighton Vander Esch. Vander Esch? I can't even say his name.
Vander Esch on the stop.
I watched him. I watched him in one game. I watched Boise State because Josh Allen was playing Boise State. And I will admit to you, he caught my eye because he is big and he is mobile. He plays linebacker like a safety, which reminds me of Brian Urlacher in college when he was that monster position where he was just all over the field.
Right.
So he's got that going at about 6'4", 250. He can fly.
Yeah.
He was a really good high school basketball player, but he only played 8-man football in high school, which made him a walk-on at Boise State, and he was only a one-year starter, and you know your issues with one-year starters. You just can't really know.
Right.
And here's my lasting memory of him. He's not physical. At point of attack, he blows up nobody. We're not talking about Sean Lee here. We're not talking about Roquan Smith here. We're not even talking about Rashawn Evans here, who is the linebacker. If they're going to go linebacker, I thought they're going to go Rashawn Evans, the Alabama kid, and he's more of an outside backer, but this kid is not a thumper. He's not physical. Pro football is a man's game. You know this, and I know this. And these finesse linebackers, they have a hard time sometimes. It's going to take him a while. Now, he's got the frame, he can grow, and maybe changes his nutrition and his weight room workouts, and maybe he can go Shannon sharp and get bigger and stronger. But he
don't need to get the bigger, Skip.
Well, I mean, but the frame, he can fill out more. But still, 250 is...
That's a big guy.
So here's my biggest fear. Everybody in the Cowboy front office and coaching staff raved last night about what a great kid he is. And I see this happen again and again every year. They fall in love with he's so likable. He's such a fine young man.
Can he play football?
Can he play? That's all I care about. Plus, I want my player to have a little attitude, you know, have a little edge. Maybe you don't need to be a nice guy.
Oh, you don't think he'll be Luke Kuechly?
I don't know about that. I just take Sean Lee, but that's danger number one. And then danger number two, this is starting to feel like Mike Mamula to me a little bit. Do you remember Mike Mamula?
I do.
95. He goes 7th overall to the Eagles because he was a workout warrior. He was a combine god, right?
Yep.
He could do it all. And if you look at the combine numbers between Van Der Esch and Mamula, and I'm not saying he's going to be a bust, but Mamula turned out to be a bust because he could do it all at the combine.
Yes.
Their numbers at the combine are the same. They're exactly the same size, 6'4", 250. It's the same idea. And again, can Van Der Esch mature physically? And he can rush the passer too because he can blitz, so he can run, he can cover, he can do all that. I'm just not sure he can play football. And this is maybe a little before your time, but Gil Brandt, who's still writing for NFL.com, made and broke the great Tom Landry with his drafts early on of the 60s and 70s. And then in the 80s, Gil Brandt said, you know what? I'm so smart. I know something nobody else does. And he kept looking for a diamond in the rough, diamond in the rough. I know something the whole NFL doesn't know. So he starts picking Howard Richards and Rod Hill. Cowboy fans know all these. They're just swing and miss, swing and miss. Billy Cannon Jr., swing and miss, swing and miss. And I fear this kid is going to wind up in that category. And I hope I'm so wrong, but you needed DJ Moore and you let him go. If you want to go solid, stable, go Rashaan Evans, even though he's more of an outside backer than a middle.
Right.
But get him because he's a solid football player.
I agree with you, Skip. I agree they should have taken an offensive player because if you want your young quarterback to be great, you surround him with talent. You give him offensive weapons. You give him someone that's explosive.
Yeah.
You look at Deshaun Watson and you look at what he has around him. You can understand why he's explosive. Yeah. They're explosive. You go linebacker? You said you want your quarterback to be, have more improvisational skills, excuse me.
Yeah.
But a linebacker doesn't help him.
No.
How many touchdowns is Van Der Esch going to score?
I don't know. Maybe he's so gifted that
They'll
he can
play him at fullback?
receiver. Make him play a little tight end. I don't know.
I would have gone wide receiver. DJ Moore, if you like DJ Moore better, take DJ Moore. If you like Calvin Ridley's not upset going with Matt Ryan and teaming up with Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu.
Do you think Calvin Ridley's going to get single coverage every play?
Yeah. So he's not upset about that.
Yeah.
But this makes no sense to me, Skip. It really doesn't. But I guess they're thinking with Cortland Sutton still on the board.
He's still on the board.
James
Got a
Washington,
shot, and they've got the 18th overall.
Christian Kirk, who came and talked to us. Anthony Miller from Memphis. So maybe they're thinking we're going to be able to get a very good receiver in round 2, and maybe he wouldn't have been available in round 2. But Sean Lee.
That is debatable. Mel Kiper had Van Der Esch as his 37th overall, so that'd be 5 picks into the second round. I don't know. Could he have fallen to 18? Maybe. I don't know. There was somebody. The only buzz I heard about Van Der Esch before the draft was only to Dallas.
Right.
That was the only buzz. So I'm not sure what they were seeing, but he's such a good kid. He's such a nice young man. So I don't know.
What did they say about his football?
I don't know. Needs to fill out, needs to get a little tougher, needs to be more physical.
Whoa. That's one thing. If I got a linebacker or a defensive player, I don't want to hear about them getting no tougher, Skip.
Yep.
Because it's hard for me to believe at 21, 22, you're going to get tougher if that's not already in you.
Yep.
You go get a Ray Lewis, oh man, I sure need him to be able to strike people. If he can strike people, he's going to be okay. No, that's in you. So either you can or you can't.
Yep. I hope I'm wrong about this, but Cortland Sutton, I think they've fallen in love with him also.
Dallas.
The SMU kid that Eric Dickerson loved.
Yeah.
Okay, he's project. He has project. He's Dez's size, 6'3", 215, 20, but he's project. It's going to take a while. DJ Moore is a stud. He's explosive. Watch what he does. He's got rookie offensive player of the year written all over him with Cam Newton throwing him bombs.
Calvin really is like, okay,
we'll
this ain't bad over here, Atlanta. You know, I'm playing on the dome twice a year. I'm in the dome, Skip. I got 8 home games. I got New Orleans, I got Tampa, I got Carolina. Ideal weather. I'm close. Oh, man. Got Julio. What they going to do with Julio? Now, Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel. Ooh, and them 2 running back. Dirty Bird finna rise again.
Well, I mean, the Cowboys could have had Calvin Ridley if they want. I just like DJ Moore more.
You would have been happy as long as they're taking a wide receiver.
Yeah.
You want weapons
take a viable number 1.
Because where are your explosive plays coming from in the passing game? Jason Witten has had a great career, But Skip, he's not that. He's not going to give you Gronk numbers. He's not going to give you Kelsey or Olsen's or some of these other tight ends numbers. He's not. That's not what he is. So are you really?
By the way, he looked great up on stage with the commission last night.
You know what, Skip?
He looked like a stud.
Skip, you know what? Time out. Okay, fans. Okay, enough. We get the picture. You don't like Roger Goodell. Commissioners tried everything. He tried to bring out Cowboys. They even booed Roger Staubach.
No, they did. And Troy.
They even booed a guy named Roger. Because at first they was like, boo Roger, boo. So if I bring Roger Staubach up here, they ain't gonna boo you, Roger Goodell. Not you, Roger Staubach. Skip, they gotta let this go.
Saying, you're booing these Cowboy legends?
Skip, he goes to Philly, they boo. Why you booing him in Philly? He goes to Chicago. Why you booing him in Chicago? I get it. Okay, Dallas is upset with Ezekiel. Maybe if you had it in New England, they're upset because of what happened with Tom Brady.
Well, it wasn't just Cowboy fans.
Man, stop. Okay, time out, Joy. I mean, first of all, what are they booing for? What did he do? He just...
I mean, you gotta stick to your brand, you know?
You know what? Commissioner, come out there with that phone.
I don't know what the other fans are booing for.
Exactly. If I'm commissioner, I need to come out there with that foam finger. Just sit there right there. That what he did. Go to that thing. Let me introduce.
Yep.
Let me introduce them. They already know what I got for them.
Well, Skip, for the Cowboys' sake, I hope that Andrews turns out to be.
But Skip, Sean Lee is old. That's why they did it, because Sean Lee can't stay healthy.
Oh, that's true.
Now what?
I can't argue that. And they lost Anthony Hitchens to Kansas City.
And then Jalen Smith.
I don't know if he'll ever be Jalen Smith.
No, he'll never be what he was. Skip.
That was a horrific knee injury. Yep.
Just for him to come back, and it was great to see Ryan Shazier on that stage.
That was the best moment last night.
It was a great moment.
He's not playing anymore. It's over.
He's having a hard time.
He's having a hard time.
Yeah.
It's over.
I'm still working at it. No mercy. Lamar Jackson was the final pick of the first round last night, going to Baltimore with the 32nd pick. The Ravens traded up for Jackson, and afterwards he said, quote, "They're going to get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that." Ravens coach John Harbaugh emphasized that Joe Flacco is still the starter, and they signed RG3 a few weeks ago. Shannon, is Lamar Jackson a good fit in Baltimore?
He's a great fit. I thought he would go to Baltimore at 16. Remember, Skip, I said he'd go somewhere between 13 and 20. And I thought 15, 16, the Cardinals at 15, Baltimore at 16 would be ideal landing spot.
Okay.
I think when Baltimore traded down and they selected, they didn't really think they had another opportunity to get Lamar Jackson because they knew he wouldn't be there in the second round. So for them to get back into the bottom of the first round, the 32nd pick, the last pick in the first round, and get Lamar Jackson, I thought that was very good. Obviously, this is Ozzie Newsome, my former boss. This is his last first-round draft pick he's ever going to select for the Baltimore Ravens. And people looking like, well, why would they select Lamar Jackson when he's such a variance from what they have in Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco is garden variety, prototypical. A drop back, a 6'6", drop back, stand there and throw the football down the field. Lamar Jackson is more athletic, more mobile, can do things with his legs, but he has a better arm than I think than people give him credit for. But Greg Roman, who I think is the offensive coordinator, he's the quarterback's coach. He coached Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick went to a Super Bowl. Marty Morningwig coached Mike Vick.
He did.
James Urban also with Vick and Donovan McNabb. So you see where they're going, Skip. And after this year, they can get out from under the avalanche, which is the contract of Joe Flacco. Skip, he's still owed a lot. If they pick that contract up after this year, that's a lot of money. Even if they release him, they save $10 million, but they still $16 million that they can divide up over 2 years. So you can kind of see where they possibly might be heading. John Harbaugh made it abundantly clear he didn't want to get Joe Flacco all up in arms. You still our guy this year. I can't make no promises in 2019. But I like it. I like the fact that he went there and he gets an opportunity. He's not going to have to come in and play right away. I don't really think any of these guys are ready to step in from day one and go play, but he'll get an opportunity to sit back, get his feet, work on his throwing motion mechanics, and be a better player.
I am with you on this. I didn't just like this. I loved it because I have never loved the quarterback, the incumbent starter in Baltimore, who I've many times called Joe Fluco because he is a fluke of a quarterback, but I cannot argue with what Joe Flacco has done in the postseason. It's extraordinary. If you go look at the numbers.
It's two different players.
It's like, what are you doing? What got into you now when the money's on the table? You made that throw and the Hail Flacco throw that beat Peyton and Denver.
Skip, we just saw a guy, Nick Foles, But it's hard for me to believe that Nick Foles' run was any better than Joe Flacco when he beat Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Andrew Luck in one fell swoop.
But during the regular season, he is more fluko.
Yes,
he is somewhere between ordinary and often pathetic.
Yes.
And in QBR, my favorite stat, he'll often have 2 or 3 during the year, which will be at the very bottom of the league.
Some sub-10s.
Yeah, sub-10s, sub-1s. He'll have point somethings. And in 2013, he became the highest paid player in all of pro football, and I just laughed out loud at that. I just could not believe it, and I said, they will pay for this, the Ravens, because it's just too much money to give to that guy for what he can do during regular seasons. And I think now they're trying to dig out from under it. So good for them. And what made me happiest about this was we talked about all the reports, which did turn out to be smokescreens, about Lamar Jackson going to Bill Belichick. And I'll tell you this, I feel so much better about Lamar Jackson's future in Baltimore than I did in Boston, for reasons we've spoken of. And I feel so much better about Lamar Jackson following Joe Flacco than trying to follow Tom Brady, because that would be just, I don't care who you are, where you're from, that's hard, man. Somebody's going to have a hard job.
I don't want that job.
Yeah, right?
I don't want
I don't think anybody wants that job.
I don't want that one.
So I was happy for Ozzie. I was happy for Lamar. Lamar paid a painful price last night. I felt so bad for him because they just showing him he's sitting.
But you know what, Skip?
But it turned out he was paid back for what he had to pay.
Stop looking at these projections.
I don't know.
They're not guaranteed.
No.
I mean, guys are getting. Dude, you still went in the first round, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you go number 1 overall or whatever, 253 overall. You still got to produce. These guys get so caught up in it.
And he still got to the Ravens.
Yeah.
And he was happy about it afterward. That's all he kept saying. I don't care what happened. I'm a Raven.
You got.
Yeah.
See, Skip, guys get so caught up in the how high they go as opposed to where they go.
Yep.
And see, me, Skip, I would have loved to be at a higher pick, but I went in the 7th round. I think there were 28, 29 teams, but only 3 had the H-back position. Now, what if I had gone to one of those teams that didn't have that position and that was going to give me an opportunity?
Trouble.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I'm getting caught up, man. I should have been a 3rd-round pick. I should have been a 2nd-round pick. Okay, I'm 7th.
It doesn't matter. You're in the Hall of Fame. You're okay.
Because guess what, Skip? I don't care where you go. When they give you that helmet and them shoulder pads, you're going to have to produce. So there ain't nobody going to be caring about, he's a 1st-round pick, so we got to keep him for 5 years. Nah, not with the money now, Skip. You get 2 to 3 years, and if you ain't paying it out, you got to go.
So I did love what Lamar also said. The Ravens are going to get a Super Bowl out of me. And I know that's big, bold talk, but I think he really, I think it stung him a little bit that he had to sit there all night. And he was like, believe that, like, yes, I do. I believe in his heart of hearts, that's what he's shooting for.
Well, we saw it, Skip, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was projected he could easily be number 1.
Oh, easily.
And now he's sliding down. He's Brady Quinn, the commissioner, had to come out there and get him and take him back to the commissioner's room. So we've seen these types of slides before, but Skip, when you have a unique talent, you need to have a unique offensive mind and a unique game plan that's slated for him. Too many times the game plan is for a drop-back quarterback. Well, everybody's not going to have a Tom Brady. Everybody's not going to have a Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees. So when you have one of these guys like a Deshaun Watson, Bill O'Brien, you see the way he called plays for Deshaun as opposed to Tom Brady. That's what you have to do.
And listen, Lamar has rare breakaway speed. It's rare, man, and elusivity. But he also has a lightning release where he just flicks it, and he flicks the ball with underrated velocity. Man, it gets there fast.
Do you think he's more athletic than Deshaun Watson? Now, I think Deshaun is a better thrower of the ball than he is right now, but would you say he's slightly a little bit? He reminds me more of Mike Vick than Deshaun Watson did.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. He is more athletic than Deshaun. Deshaun can move around. But this kid is electrifying, but he can throw it, and he threw it for a very demanding coach, Bobby Petrino, in a very complex system that's a pro-style system. So don't tell me he doesn't have a head start on this. It's going to take a while. Maybe it's just the 1 year for Flacco. I don't know.
And the thing is, but people look at Somebody threw for those 30-plus touchdowns in back-to-back years.
They did.
Somebody had over 3,500 passing yards in back-to-back years.
Yep.
He's two-time ACC Player of the Year. He won the Heisman Trophy.
Won the Heisman Trophy.
I mean, does that mean it? And you want the guy without even giving him an opportunity to play quarterback? People were recommending that the man switch positions after winning the Heisman, two-time ACC Player of the Year, and as a quarterback.
I agree.
Nah, bro, we ain't got nothing for you here.
So, bottom line on this, I love Ozzie. You love Ozzie.
I do.
Have nothing but respect. This is his swan song. But just to be fair about this, I wanted Ozzie to take him, as you pointed out, at 16. Because if you are head over heels, you just dig in at 16 and say, I'm taking that kid because I believe in that kid, right?
I think what they thought is that they started looking down at the board, and it's like, nobody.
Remember, New Orleans had just traded up to 14, and I was convinced Sean Payton just went up and snatched Lamar Jackson. And I was waiting for the commissioner to utter Lamar Jackson, and he uttered the name of the kid from UT San Antonio, the defensive end.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden, I thought, now Ozzie has to take him at 16. Then he trades back to 22, and then he trades back again.
Yeah.
So remember, he went back to 25 and he took the South Carolina tight end, right?
Which they needed, right?
Yeah, okay.
And so guess what? Like all these picks I accumulated, I can move back up and get the guy that we could have got at 16 and had no extra picks and missed out on the tight end.
Okay, but he had to sit there and sweat from 25 on, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 31, you have to wait and make sure, because Belichick going to take, you don't know what's going to happen, or is somebody going to trade up and get Lamar, and you got a little lucky to be able to go up to 30.
But you got to play the odds, Skip. When you start looking at it, okay, all these teams that could possibly use a quarterback, they got them. Cleveland got one, and the Arnold, Josh Allen had gone to Buffalo. So the court okay, Oz is like, well, hold on, let me see here. If I slide back, let me see what happened. These teams are not going to take him. Let me slide back a little more. And lo and behold, 32 is about to be up. I got me a couple of picks. Let me see if I can get one of them back and get the guy. So it's kind of like, I can assure you.
But I've seen many times in all my years where somebody had their heart set on so-and-so, and somebody just leapfrogs at the last second and snatches so-and-so.
It happened twice to Ozzie.
Yeah.
Gronk. He was going to take Gronk, and I think the New England took him. He ended up having to take Pitta. He wanted to take Aaron Hernandez, ended up having to take Ed Dixon. So it has happened to him. So I think he'd have been disappointed with one.
Is that why he went with the tight end higher then, I guess?
Yeah, exactly.
But this whole scenario is why I can't give huge credit to Bill Belichick for taking Tom Brady in the 6th round. Okay. All right. So what about those first 5?
You didn't. Nobody.
Did you really believe?
No.
Did you know?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
And anybody, I knew Tom Brady. People kill me with that. They take a guy in the 3rd or the 4th round. I knew he was going to be special. Well, why in the hell you didn't take him in the 1st round? If you knew he was going to be as special as you said he was, you was going to run the risk. So I guess you the only one that thought he was going to be special.
Yep.
Stop playing.
Agreed.
You knew Peyton Manning was going to be special. That's why you took him number 1 overall. Right. John Elway, certain guys like that, you think they're going to be special, and you're not willing to run the risk.
Yeah.
Well, Ozzie did call it masterful.
Yeah.
Moving around in the draft, so he doesn't think it was luck at all.
Yeah, it was masterful.
No mercy. Hey everyone, Joy Taylor here, and before the show moves along, I want to tell you about an exciting new show. It's called the Fox Sports Daily Brief, available only on Facebook Watch. We all know everyone is busy, but the Fox Sports Daily Brief takes the biggest stories in the world of sports and delivers them to you in one video on Facebook. It's all you need to know about sports from the biggest stars at Fox Sports. So log on to Facebook and search Fox Sports Daily Brief and look for new episodes weekdays. Now back to the show. No mercy. The Patriots went to the University of Georgia last night to restock their offense. They had 2 first-round picks and took former Bulldog offensive lineman Isaiah Wynn and his teammate, running back Sony Michel. Shannon, what did you make of these picks?
I love them, and it shows me that they still plan to win with offense. They lost Nate Soder. It looks like they're going to move the right tackle and play him at left tackle. Now, Isaiah Wynn looks like he would be better suited at guard because he's a little undersized to be a tackle, 6'3". They normally like him 6'4" and up, Skip. But this young man in the SEC gave up 5 pressures last year. Both of the tackles that went before him gave up 16. He's only given up 26 pressures. in his career at Georgia in over 2,600 snaps. So once every 100 times the quarterback throws the ball, he'll give up a pressure. I love the pick. Sonny Michel, Skip, you know who he reminds me of? Alvin Kamara. They're about the same size. One's 5'10", the other's 5'11", both 214, 4.56, 4.54. Now, he didn't catch as many passes, but why would you throw him the ball when you can just hand it to him and you're getting 7-8 yards a clip? And he had Chubb in the backfield. And Kamara and Sonny Michel play faster than 4.5. They look faster than 4.5 because when I'm watching him run away from people, I'm like, he's easily 4.4, and then he ran, 4.54. I love these picks, Skip, because you get a replacement for Nate Solder if you're going to play him at left tackle, and Dion Lewis, who left, you have a guy that can catch the ball if you need it, but he's a very good runner. I think he automatically goes to the top of the depth chart. Now, they're going to make him work, but I clearly believe right now he's the best running back that they have, and they got Burkhead, and they got Gillisley, and they still have White. But I love this pick. I always thought Lamar Jackson was a smokescreen. Skip, that's not, we talked
about it.
That's not the way they do business.
They don't do business that
way.
No.
Oh, Lamar Jackson, they went down there and worked him out. And they brought him in and they worked him out. So,
and somehow that got out.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that get out?
Yeah.
Trying to mislead people? Trying to encourage other people to make some mistake?
Well, maybe they tried to help Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. So, these two picks showed me that just maybe the fence is being mended between Belichick and Brady because this was not sabotagey. This wasn't Bill Belichick saying, watch this, Tom Brady, let me see you win with this. Or let me go get a quarterback in the first round because I'm going to assume he's going to pick Belichick in the second round.
Second or third.
Well, they got two coming up in the second.
They're getting one of them. What of them will be a quarterback?
11th in the second round and 31st in the second round. So I'm going to assume maybe it's Mason Rudolph from Oklahoma State. I don't know. Whoever he loves enough to say, that's my next Jimmy G, my diamond in the second round rough. But it would feel very different if he had taken a quarterback in the first round at 23, because then you're like on a faster track to say, I'm going to replace Tom Brady in one more year.
Or package those first rounders and move up to get one of those earlier quarterbacks.
It was sitting on the table. Or package the second rounders.
Skip, you know how they normally do business. When they have multiple picks, they're more apt to trade back and get more picks as opposed to trading up and giving up those picks. They like quantity over quality because Coach Belichick is always trying to patch multiple holes, not fill one glaring need. So clearly, they could use a D lineman. Clearly, they could use some secondary help.
Sure. And clearly, last night, Tom Brady was saying, thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
I needed that. I needed both those because Isaiah Wynn, who I saw up close and way too personal, Oklahoma versus Georgia in the national semifinal, he is a football player. He is a mauler. He is a steamroller. He is a bulldozer. Every time I looked up, he was mauling one of my Sooners. And they weren't great on defense, but they weren't that bad. And he was blowing people off the ball.
Hold on, Skip. Now, you just said that Coach Belichick sabotaged Tom. You said that Tom should be very upset that he gave up 41 points, but you happy that he got two offensive players.
Yeah, I'm saying the defense got mended.
I would have thought you'd want some defense. He gave you talk about that pathetic performance that he gave.
He had defense. The defense was standing on the sideline in some weird doghouse.
You got to give that up.
He had Malcolm Butler just got, what was it?
$60 million.
$60 million on the open market from Tennessee? Are you kidding?
Skip, at some point in time, you got to let that go. You got to hang that coat up. It's too small now.
Wow.
Hang it up. Put it in joy. I mean, I know it's your favorite coat, but you got to let that go, Skip.
Well, you're telling me to let it go? Tell Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski to let it go. Tell Danny Amendola to let it go. Seriously. Tell them. I'm just reacting to them.
Tom's like, I don't need any more weapons. The weapons I got work just fine. I need you to patch that up.
Yeah.
That's what's leaking.
Okay.
I'm good over here.
All right. So I think Isaiah Wynn, I know he's not prototypical size. I will bet you he can play either tackle. I will bet you he can. He played some tackle at Georgia.
He played left.
I will bet you under Dante Scarnecchia, who's like the ultimate offensive line coach, I will bet you that Dante can work him into a position. If he has to play left, he'll play left.
Yes.
I know you say that they're going to mix and match. He's more suited at 6'2", 313 to be more that squatty guard.
Yes, he's more of an inside player. Yes,
he's not long enough. But trust me, he competes at such a high level with such good feet. If he needs to play tackle, he can play tackle. And he was opening holes for a guy named Sony Michel in that Oklahoma game who just ran wild. He went 11 times for 181 yards. He caught 4 more balls for 41 more yards and another touchdown. He scored 4 touchdowns in the game, 3 rush, 1 catch. That's sort of Saquon-like in the Rose Bowl, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
y'all the business.
You know what my eyes told me? We're going to talk about Saquon a little later in the show, but my eyes, just watching my television, told me that Sony Michel is a little better running back than Saquon Barkley. That's what my eyes told me.
Yeah.
And Bill Belichick just stole him with the bottom of the first round, 31st pick.
Mm-hmm.
Sony Michel, as you said, 5'11", 214. He can run through tackles, and once he hits whatever gear he has, I know he didn't time that fast.
Yeah,
He's 4'5".
but he looks faster.
Oh, he's got that football speed with ball under arm.
And he looks more elusive than Saquon Barkley.
Ooh, he does. He just does. I mean, he would just take my breath away and take my heart away because I every time I looked up against Oklahoma, he's loose and he's flying and he hits 5th gear with effortless acceleration, right? He doesn't look like he's running fast, and then you see him, and the DBs look like they're running slow.
Yeah, he goes first. He goes from 1st to 5th, and there's no in between.
There's no
it's
in
like
between.
Boom. But I know what didn't happen. I know a Crimson defense he didn't run against, Joey. You noticed that too, huh? What about that, Skip?
There's only one Crimson.
I want you to stop that. Everybody knows who it is. Crimson. What would they say? Oklahoma Crimson Sooner or the Alabama Crimson Tide?
It's Crimson and Cream. It's the greatest program in college football. That's okay.
No, it's not.
So back to Sony Michel. That's a steal with that pick. And I know there's always been that theory running backs are overvalued in the first round. Not if you can do that. Not if you can run and catch the way he can. He will electrify Tom Brady's offense. And Isaiah Wynn will just simply plug a hole because there's a big old leak in the dam somewhere, you know, without Nate Solder.
And I believe, Skip, at the 23rd pick, I believe Isaiah Wynn is a better fit, will have more benefit for the Patriots than Brandon Cooks. Because remember, they traded him. And for the Rams,
that's true. Yeah.
You mean to tell what receiver in this draft, be it DJ Moore, be it Calvin Ridley, is going to have, you know what Brandon Cooks is. He's basically a 65, 70 catch guy, 1,000 yards, 6 to 8 touchdowns. That's what he is. Do you believe one of these guys, if the Rams was in the market for a wide receiver, do you believe one of those guys will give you that kind of production his rookie season?
Nope.
So everybody made out. Rams get their receiver after losing Sammy Watkins, and they feel a need. The Patriots feel a need by losing Nate Solder, getting Isaiah Wynn, who could easily have been the number 1 tackle taken last night because his performance says, now you know if you play offensive line in the SEC, they got them hogs down there because Alabama keep them stacked. LSU will keep them. Florida keeps them. So you know if you play offensive line down there, Skip, you know you battle tested.
So now Tom Brady can feel real good about playing 3 more years, 4 more years. I don't know. Now you're restocked.
Well, let me ask you a question. Well, clearly he can't get to 42 points. So what? Because if Coach Belichick defense can't give up no fewer than 41 points.
When you put up 33 against Philadelphia, shouldn't that be good enough to win the game?
Yes, hold on.
Yes.
So is that quota? So offense, you can't score but 33 points tonight.
If I had told you before the Super Bowl
what if I told you
that New England would score 33 points, you would have said, it's over, it's a rout. That's what you would have told me. You would have said it's a rout.
I would say what? Now, if you told me Tom Brady's going to drop a touchdown and with under 2 minutes left, he's going to fumble the ball, I said, the Eagles got this.
That was a touchdown?
Yeah, that was a touchdown. That was a tug.
If he got loose, his
that was a tug.
I can't remember, but you did pick the Patriots.
I did.
I wonder what your score was. Wonder what it was. Probably in the 20s.
We can find that out.
Tub.
Huh?
Tom Brady had a tub on his hands. Dropped it. So he had to come on. He had to come to Shay's place, eat up them hot L's. Served him 41 hot L's.
Is that what it's called, Shay's Place?
Yeah, Shay's Place. Yeah. Where was Malcolm Butler that night? Did he come by?
Skip, put that jacket in the closet.
I don't think that can be put away until we get an explanation.
He may be wearing a Hall of Fame jacket before.
Which we may not get until there's like a 30 for 30 one day. No mercy. Josh Rosen was taken with the 10th overall pick last night by the Cardinals, but he was not happy about being the 4th quarterback chosen. Let's take a listen.
I was pretty pissed off. I fell. 1, 2, and 3 went by, and just kind of went into a blur after that. I was really angry. Teams were passing on me, and I was honestly expecting to get picked at some point and have to fake a smile and go up and and pretend to be happy. There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me, and I will make sure over the next decade or so that they will know that they made a mistake.
You like Rosen's comment,
No,
Shannon?
no, absolutely not. The number one concern with him surfaced as soon as he got drafted, Skip. Yeah. So let me guess. Now, if you're upset at them for passing on you, are you faking now? It seems like you're excited about going to the Cardinals. The Cardinals move up to select him, Skip. He making it seem like he Mr. Irrelevant. Like he dropped completely out, like he's number 255. Yeah. Dude, you're a top 10 pick. They move up 5 spots to select you. And you're talking like, well, I was expecting. That was your problem. Stop expecting. Okay, you're there now. We're going to see, because guess what? They're going to have this video. Ooh, I love video. Because guess what, Skip? It's there forever. And they're going to play this back. Oh, I'm upset. I thought I would go a lot. Why you got those kind of expectations? See, when you have those kind of expectations, that's when you set yourself up for disappointment.
Yep.
Hey, go where you go, and you got to produce once you get there. People, they get caught up into this, okay, I'm going to be successful because I was the first pick. I was the third pick. Where you pick that doesn't determine your success. A lot of times, you determine that scheme, fit, has a lot to do with that, Skip. But I don't get it. I do not get what he's so upset about. The guy was still a top 10 pick. Yep. A team traded up 5 spots to get him, and he make it seem like he Mr. Irrelevant. Talk about he was pissed. They were passing on him. And?
Well, he thought he should be the first overall pick.
Yeah, okay.
And what I think or suspect is that Josh Rosen talks a better game than he plays. I'm going to say this one more time. Your sport, your former sport, is a man's sport. And playing quarterback in the National Football League is about mental and physical toughness. And you have to have it deep because you are going to take a mental and a physical beating.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure this young man has enough of the mental, physical toughness to make it at the highest level in this game because he hadn't played a down yet of pro football. And he can talk big and bad all he wants to, and 9 teams made a mistake, and watch this. Well, we're watching.
Yeah,
now it's going to start. And all those defenses out there watching TV, they're saying, okay, we'll see. Yeah. You know, Seattle's defense, we'll see what's happening, right? Yeah. And in the end, Josh Rosen is the prettiest thrower of the football of all those quarterbacks. It's sweet, man. He was well taught. And there are times when he stands tall in the pocket and makes right choices, and it looks big time. His tape, if I just pull highlights of his tape, it looks the best of all the quarterbacks. But again, I watch Baker Mayfield on television every snap that he played at the University of Oklahoma, and his body of work is much better than Josh Rosen's body of work.
No question about that.
And Josh Rosen, I watched a lot. And I got to tell you, big moments, he doesn't look like he stands 6'4", what is 6'4"?
He's 6'4".
Yeah. He shrinks. And if he takes some shots, he shrinks. And he did get a little beat up. And I know against Sam Darnold, he, quote-unquote, outplayed Sam Darnold, even though USC won the game last year. But maybe he outplayed Sam Darnold because that was more about Sam Darnold than Josh Rosen. Right. That's just me. But there's games, shootout, like that shootout at Memphis. I watched the whole game, and I don't know.
Blow it up.
Yeah. I mean, he just came up small in that game. I'm just not sure, and I'm not sold. And yet he continues to talk. Nobody can. If you want the best interview of these kids, it's not even close, man. He blows them all out, right?
Skip, everything that comes up shouldn't come out. And that's the problem with him. Yeah. Oh, I thought I was gonna have to go to somewhere. Well, why would you have to fake it? Because you're upset that they're passing on you. So if one of them selects you, why are you going to go fake a smile? You said you're upset because they passed on you. Yeah. And you were going to have to go up there and fake a smile. Yeah. So why would you have to fake a smile if one of those teams select you where you thought you were going?
Well, also, I know he's speaking emotionally, but every team in the top 10 didn't need a quarterback. And then Cleveland certainly wasn't going to take 2 quarterbacks in the top 10. So you're really only talking about the other 3 teams that took quarterbacks.
That's a good point.
You know, he's a smart guy, so he'll think about that.
Sometimes smart people say dumb things.
It happens. They're still emotional. Next up, the Bills traded up to draft Josh Allen with the 7th overall pick, but controversy surrounded Allen earlier this week when offensive offensive tweets he wrote in high school were revealed. Allen apologized for the tweets, including using the N-word, but after he was drafted, he said, quote, "Somebody knew what they were doing." Shannon, do you believe that Allen was sabotaged?
Yeah, I believe two people knew it. Yeah, he was sabotaged. I believe two people knew what they were doing. He and the person that leaked these text messages.
Tweets.
Excuse me. Whatever someone was trying to accomplish, it seemed to have worked. But it was real. This is not slanderous or libel, Skip. These were actual tweets.
Did he tweet them?
Yes.
Yeah.
But then he came out, well, you know, me and my friends, we would take each other's phones. See, Skip, he was doing good. I made a mistake the first time he did it. Now, yesterday, you know, me and my friends, we would take each other's phone and come on, dude. Yeah. Now you trying to
that was a come on.
Yeah,
dude.
Come on. I'm like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
And then here's the kicker, Skip. You know, I didn't think it would come back to haunt. You didn't. So you're not sorry that you did it. You're sorry that it came back to haunt you. So I guess it just goes to show you don't. I was like, bro, you just digging this thing even deeper. You're not sorry. You're just sorry this thing came out. So yeah, whatever they were trying to do, it worked. Was he sabotaged? Yes, but you did it to yourself. It's hard as I can see, Skip, if it was something that was made up, it wasn't true. This is very true. It's your own, you said it was you. And now, all of a sudden, he was sabotaged. Okay, yeah, it happened. But if you didn't send this out, it would have never happened.
Maybe sabotage isn't the right word. Maybe he was just exposed. You know, maybe somebody, I don't know who did it, but it was there.
Maybe that's right. Maybe that's a better choice of words.
Right?
Maybe he was exposed for.
But I mean, it's in your Twitter history. You can just go back if you got the time and you got the inclination. You can go back and find these tweets. If you're
he deleted them, but somebody else had got them before he could delete them.
All right. Well, I got it. And again, I don't want to pile on. I don't want to rub this in. But the one that got me, and I think also set off your alarm bells was, if it ain't white, it ain't right. All the use of the N-word, the rap lyrics type N-word. Okay, maybe you can sort of go on past that, but that that was pretty scary.
Nah, that's one thing. Skip, you've been around the game far too long. You know, once you walk in there, everybody's treated equal. You're on equal footing. I don't care if you're black, white, you're a Protestant, you're Catholic, whatever your religion is. When you come in there, Look,
so in that, I don't know the makeup of the Buffalo locker room. I mean, I know what the racial breakdown will probably be about 75% African American, right?
Yeah.
And as you say, there are going to be some side eyes shot in his direction, right?
Yeah, bro. Hey, bro, what you meant by that?
Yeah.
I'm just going. Hey, man. Me and you, man to man, straight up. What you meant by that? You think that if it's white, it's right, and you think you're better because you're white? Is that, I mean, where were you trying to go with this? Where are you trying to take this? I just need to know, because you're gonna be in here. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to be upset with you or anything like that. So I just need to know what your thought process was.
Just hypothetically, if his explanation is, "Oh, my friend took my phone and that was my friend," okay, stop playing. But then, no matter what his explanation is for the rest of camp and early into the year, you're going to be checking him out.
Yeah.
Let's see what you're made of. Let's see if actions speak loud as words. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
See how you are. So I think he was still fortunate that he went to Buffalo.
Yes.
And maybe he's fortunate because it's not the biggest media capital of the world, right? And yet, I'm going to say one more time, I'm just going on his pure football performance. I still don't get it.
I don't either.
I watched
Nothing
3
says
games.
he's a franchise quarterback, Skip. Nothing. Except physical stature.
Physical stature. He is Elway-esque only in stature.
Yes.
In arm strength, in velocity, in distance, you're able to throw the football.
He's throw it 73 yards. How many times, Skip, do you think in this young man's career he's going to throw the ball 73 yards? He might, a Hail Mary at the end of the half or at the end of the game. So you might get 6 or 7 of those when he gets to throw the ball 70-plus yards. So what good is a 70-yard arm when you're very rarely, if ever, going to have to throw the ball that far?
So I dare any Buffalo Bills fan to go put in the tape of at Iowa, at Boise State, or against Oregon, or the first half of the Senior Bowl, and tell me what you see and don't see. I didn't see poise. I didn't see accuracy. I didn't see feel for playing the position, all of which are vital necessities at the next level, all of which Baker Mayfield have. and Josh Allen does not have. But, boy, can he combine it? He can combine it. Yeah, okay.
Just go ahead and own up to it.
Yeah.
I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Don't say me and my friends, we would play jokes on each other's, taking each other's phone. Don't do that. Own the mistake.
Yeah.
And keep it moving. Now you're trying to explain and then say, well, I didn't know it would come back to haunt. So you're not really sorry. You're sorry that it came back to haunt you.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. Yeah, I'm looking at him kind of funny. I keep my eye on him, Skip. You know, he walking in the locker room, Joe. I like this here.
Well, I mean, whatever the person's intention was that revealed it, that it shouldn't matter. He still went seventh, which he could have gone to naturally. Like it's
yesterday afternoon, I thought he had plunge factor. Like he would be sitting where Lamar Jackson ended up sitting.
Sure, and he could have, but I mean, it's not like it really affected him that much. He's still in the top 10.
I guess he's upset that he didn't go number one because I
think everyone who didn't go number one is upset they didn't go number one if they're a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam Darnold had the brown tie ready to go and everything.
Yeah, I'd have took that one off. I would have open collar.
Yeah, you're not going to pick a color yet.
But I think, Joey, after about an hour, most of those guys know where they're going. They hadn't really filled you in yet. There's a good chance you're not going there. It's okay.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's a Lyle Collins situation. Yeah. Even Laramie Tunsil, who dropped to 13. Yeah. I mean, he still went 13th overall. So.
But I don't believe he gets past Baltimore, I think, at 6 because they end up taking Stanley to tackle out of Notre Dame. I don't believe he gets past them. And he was projected. He was rated. Mel Kiper had him number 1 overall.
He did.
Yeah. And he goes from 1 to 13.
He did.
Based on that, and it just so happened.
Yeah,
right before the draft.
The NFL draft is coming. It just maybe be a little more prepared about the stuff that you've done in your past. Everybody has.
Well, he did have that bong mask on. I mean, it's not like that. Somebody. That was photoshopped.
No.
That was you, right?
I understand.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Keep an eye out for a weekend edition of the podcast tomorrow morning featuring the best discussions and segments from this week. We'll be back with more Undisputed on Monday morning at the same time, 9:30 Eastern. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.